On to our last today. And this one you kind of should have saw coming in some aspects. I mean, this is a game that is under the EA umbrella. The fact that it's a single gaming experience, EA has kind of made it known that they don't give a fuck about single player games. They need a way to milk money from the game, and you can't do that with Dante's Inferno, in my opinion. Nickel and dime somebody from a Dante Inferno's game.
It had microtransactions.
It did? Wait, like cosmetics?
Yeah. You can buy souls, and I do believe it was cosmetics, and it was something else. It had microtransactions. They were
Oh,
small.
okay. But it's still a single player game though, right?
Yeah, I do believe they added a co-op mode later on to it, but in all essence, yes, it's a single player game.
Okay. Well,
I was
as a
shocked about this because, I mean, like you said, EA ain't about the single player. They're not about the short term on their games. It's all about, recurring revenue, keeping them there,
mhm.
keeping them engaged, keeping them playing. Even before they became just more scummy at it, they were always like that. But I was shocked to hear about this because I was like, I don't know why it didn't happen. As far as I know, Dante's Inferno did perform well.
Yeah, it did.
Granted, it was at the time heavily criticized for being a God of War clone, being in an isometric view, and the controls were kind of similar. Like the right stick, you moved it, and that's where the way he dodged, combo based, etc. As much as I'm not a fan of calling games clones, no one owns whatever type of game they make, the genre of it. But it was a God of War, and but it was very interesting. It was very interesting. The premise of the story. I mean, for people who don't know the Dante's Inferno poem, you should give it a look. It's an interesting story. It's a poem. Yeah, it's a poem if I remember correctly. I took a lot of literature classes in school. There were a lot of people in the prominent, famous people throughout history that was in the game. You could either damn them or absolve them. It was the premise was interesting. But I do remember the marketing for the game. They got a little bit of a pushback from it. They kind of went like a little bit too far because of the religious aspect and nature of the game. That might be why the sequel was not put out. People get real sensitive when you talk about religious stuff like that, even if it is from a heaven or hell perspective. But I enjoyed the game. I own it on my PS3, and I was working to plat it at one point. I need to go back to that, but it was an interesting game. Hell, they even made an anime out of it. It had an anime movie that was pretty graphic too. This could have turned into something, but of course, EA was being EA, which they still are. I mean, the only reason they're doing whatever their single player games now is because they attached them to Star Wars license. But I enjoyed the game. I had a great time with it. It was something different, even though it was kind of a copycat. I would have
Hey,
loved.
if that's how you gonna copycat, that is the way to do it, honestly.
I would have loved to seen where they would have gone with the sequel because
Shoulda, woulda,
it
coulda.
kind of ended on a definitive final note. You know what I'm saying? So what could they have done with it? But this was interesting to hear. I like to hear these little stories of what could have been, etc. Just like the Bully 2 rumors that came out that they were working on it and they kind of they were working on it and then just it kept falling by the wayside and then just fell by the wayside. But I mean, did you play the original? The first
Uh,
Dante's Inferno? The
ye
poem, the story, or whatever?
yeah, I played it. I definitely didn't finish it though. This was just in a time where it was just an abundance amount of games. I think I was definitely still in high school, so there was just a abundance amount of games, and this just fell by the wayside. But let me go through all the tea leaves. As of 2025, a sequel to Dante's Inferno, the 2010 action game from Visceral Games and EA, is not in development and highly unlikely to happen. Here's the situation. Visceral Games, the studio behind Dante's Inferno and Dead Space, was shut down by EA in 2017 during development of a Star Wars. I didn't know that. EA retains the Dante Inferno IP, but has made no mention developers are
Rise is wild.
revising fuck, I can't say this word, bringing back the
Revision.
IP. Yeah, revising public interest calls for future releases, roadmaps, blah blah blah. Bunch of words out. EA executives have acknowledged fans' interest in bringing back games like Dead Space and Dante's Inferno, not been part of any of real discussions of remakes. No filings, trademarks, or job listings related to Dante's Inferno 2 has surfaced since 2014, when an early concept pitch reportedly failed internal approval. Oh, okay, so they did have a pitch for it. Some social media speculation in 2025 tied to Dead Space remake's success thought that this would make the studio EA and Visual Games bring back Dante Inferno and make a reboot, but in reality, that never happened. They just said Dead Space remake success. Okay, cool, and they moved on. Developers who worked on the original Jonathan Knights have since moved to other studio, of course, that's always the case, and confirmed no sequel was ever greenlit after 2010, which is when the original release. So there is very blunt that EA said the odds of the rebooting are slim unless EA takes a look back at classic single player catalog again, which they have no interest. They have stated they have no interest outside of the little one Dead Space remake. So EA has made it clear. Visceral Games has made it clear. I mean, they're shut down. So yeah, the sequel is nothing but a hope and a dream at this point.
So I can tell you right now how this probably didn't succeed as much as EA wanted to, and why the sequel didn't come out. So you gave out 2 big years. You gave out 2010, you got 2017. 2010 is the year the first Red Dead Redemption came out. So that probably killed a lot of motherfucking momentum. Anything that came out in or around it. It was a new thing from Rockstar, but everyone loves Rockstar shit. And Red Dead sold. Because I can tell you right now, 2010, I was in college, and everybody was telling our professor, hey, ain't no one gonna be here on so-and-so day. Oh, why? What was going on? I was like, yo, Red Dead come out. It's the new Rockstar game. Everyone was prepared not to go to school that day. And I'm pretty sure they did it with work. Then you said 2017. 2017, Horizon Zero Dawn launched, and that Breath of the Wild game with the new Switch coming out. So with that type of landscape of all that stuff going on, these are big, high-profile games. And even though Dante's Inferno came from a bigger publisher of EA, it can be classified as a AA-esque game. You know, there was not a lot of high production value in them. You know, nowhere near in the sense of like, if you want to compare God of War, we'll say God of War 3 to Dante's Inferno. God of War 3 will win every time if you compare them side by
Yeah,
side.
I just looked at
So,
the numbers. It says that lifetime sales report that Dante Inferno is 2.4 to 2.7 million units sold across
oh,
all
hell no.
platforms
Oh,
over
man,
its
nope.
lifetime. Dante's Inferno sold about 2.3 million copies globally, turning a modest profit, but not meeting EA's high franchise potential goals. One key reason no sequel was greenlight.
I can tell you right now, and this came from numerous developers, interviewers, and such. A game don't hit 5 million in sales. EA is quick to and move along. I don't know why they stuck with Dead Space for so long, because they say that first game they wanted 5 million. It did not get 5 million. That's why when Dead Space 2 came out, they added the multiplayer. That EA was the motherfucker of the multiplayer-ification of just shoving that shit in single player games to keep engagement. And you may not know this, Dead Space 1, 2, and 3, they all had microtransactions. Dead Space 1, single player game, you can buy weapon packs, suit packs, and some other shit for it. Single player game. Dead Space 2, they added the multiplayer. They had skins and everything else. And I don't know if I think we played Dead Space 3. It's microtransactions for that. You to buy resources. An extra little bot thing. They have been doing this for the longest. And I don't know where they get that number from, that 5 million. Because you got a regular publisher who'll be like, hey, 2.3, 2.7? Oh man, hell yeah. The fact your game sold 1 million, period. a motherfucker will be happy. EA, nah. EA is the same as Square Enix. These high ass standard for their games, and it's like, who are you? You ain't Rockstar. You ain't,
Yeah.
high profile dev like that. But you should be getting five. No.
Yeah, cause when you brought that up, I thought of I don't know why, but my mind went to Mass Effect Andromeda because they did the product so early. Launch week for Mass Effect Andromeda was 2.5 million. By the end of June, which is around the time they said that fuck y'all who bought it, we ain't supporting it, and the multiplayer and whatever we promise is not coming, it sold 3.5 million units, which is still they turned that first week. Let me go back to the 2.5. They did $100 million in revenue. So you want $200 million in revenue basically from a game? That's crazy. And Mass Effect didn't even hit 5 million at the end of the year it came out. It didn't hit 5 million until the end of the next year. And lifetime
Oh
sales
yeah,
put it at
they jumped
5.5
to
million.
conclusion.
So it took Mass Effect, it was released from 2017 to now 2025. They just now hit 5.5 million. That's a very unrealistic goal. And Mass Effect, it was a big IP. So how can you have that same expectation for Dante Inferno?
They have very unrealistic goals. I don't know if you noticed, but it's reported they expect 100 million players to be playing Battlefield 6.
I don't know
When
about
the
that.
franchise is 32-ish million players.
I don't know who is working in EA making these outrageous numbers because 5 million for a game is just who do you think you are? You're not Rockstar. You're not making that good enough a game. Not saying these games are not good, but not
Mhm.
5 million first week release. Like I said, the report says in the 2.5 million they sold in the first week, they already did 100 million revenue. How much money do you
Oh yeah.
want?
And I
And
just want
that's
to say this. If they
fuck.
was talking about remakes, remastering, and whatnot in 2017, if y'all going back to Dante's Inferno, I need Army of Two back.
Nah, I love Aria too.
I'm just
Eh,
saying.
I think
I'm
if
just saying,
Dante
y'all kicking
Inferno
around and
was
bringing back old EA classics. I need EA. I need y'all to run back Army of Two.
I think
I
I
need a
think Army
compilation remastered because y'all ain't gonna do a
nah.
remake. Cost us money. Give me a remaster, spruce the graphics up, spruce the controls, all three games, one package, making $100. I'll buy it
Yeah, I
and get
think
and put the co-op back. Put the co-op
I
back.
I think Army of Two is in the same boat as the Dante Inferno. They ain't thinking about none of that shit.
They not.
But one could hope and dream. Let me know if y'all diehard fan of Dante Inferno. Did you like it at release? Did you think it was good enough to warrant a sequel or not? I'll definitely be interested in the comments below. But it's the fact that it
I say
sits
no.
sale. So they said they got a modest revenue. So if I just did half of what they did for Mass Effect with 2.5, they sold 1 million. So they probably did 50 million in revenue. That's good. That is
That is
good. That's
good.
good enough in my eyes. But EA has other thoughts.
Me personally, I say no because I played and beat the game originally. There was no room or interpretation that a sequel or more of this would come. Where would it go?
I mean, they
This is
pitched
based
something
off
though.
of yeah. No, I mean, no, that's cool. I'm all for more of stuff I enjoyed and was interested in, but this was based off of a literature poem.
Mhm.
Where else would you take this? You fought Satan in this game, and if I remember correctly, I think it was multiple phases, or I can't remember everything, but I don't see a sequel for it. But hey, let us know how you all feel about the original, the sequel, possibility of it, EA's high expectations. Are they just as bad or worse than Square Enix? I think they are.
I think they are
I think
all are
Square Enix is
fucking.
worse.
I think they're all fucking shit. To have that type
Mm-hmm.
of demand and you don't put in all the resources like a $5 million game, a 5 million soak game, then don't expect that if you don't put in that type of effort. In which I can vividly say EA's probably has never put in that much effort to none of these products. So
Mm-hmm.
fuck EA, fuck Nintendo, fuck all these game companies, bro, because they are just outrageous. The thought is not to make good games or fun games for the consumer. The thought is how much money can I make off this product? I've stated before that's a very dangerous mindset to have when you're supposed to be creating an imaginary world, Like, you're in a video game, you're supposed to be making these different worlds for people to be immersed in. I don't know. Do I hope one day? Yeah, I hope one day. Hope EA gets sold to somebody that cares about video games, and maybe they'll do a Dante Inferno sequel and Army of Two. You know, a remake or something. But yeah, that's all we got on today's episode. Let us know in the comments below how you feel about any of the topics we say today, and we'll see you next week on the next weekend topic dump.
And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, are you not entertained?